But up next, they're a relatively unknown party, but they're in it to win it. The leader of Ontario's Freedom Party, Paul McKeever, stops by, joins us with more.
Just paid for by the Freedom Party of Ontario.
We're going to build on the work that Dalton McGuinty has done over the last 9 years.
Actually, 72% of voters think it's time for another party to take over governing Ontario. But who? Tim Hudak's PCs are actually promising to put 100,000 Ontarians out of work.
Will it mean fewer teachers? It does.
Will destroying the lives of 100,000 families solve your problems? The NDP's Andrea Horwath says she's a socialist.
Are you a socialist?
Yes, I believe I am.
If you give a radical the power to take money from your wallet, will that solve your problems? There's a better option. Freedom Party. A freedom government will restore trust in government by balancing the budget this year and every year without massive job cuts. We'll pull the plug on overpriced liberal green energy schemes. Together, we'll make Ontario right again for everyone.
We're going to build on the work that Dalton McGuinty has done over the last 9 years.
Actually, 72% of voters think it's time for another party to take over governing Ontario. But who? Tim Hudak's PCs are actually promising to put 100,000 Ontarians out of work.
Will it mean fewer teachers? It does.
Will destroying the lives of 100,000 families solve your problems? The NDP's Andrea Horwath says she's a socialist.
Are you a socialist?
Yes, I believe I am.
If you give a radical the power to take money from your wallet, will that solve your problems? There's a better option. Freedom Party. A freedom government will restore trust in government by balancing the budget this year and every year without massive job cuts.
You tired of the same old options? Well, the Ontario electorate does seem deeply divided and almost tired of the Liberals, NDPers, Conservatives. The other week I argued we need an anti-establishment movement. Well, which other party out there can accomplish that? You got the Green Party, you got the Communist Party, the Libertarians, maybe the Freedom Party. Leader Paul McKeever, who you saw there in that video, joins me now in studio. And first of all, I'm looking at that video, balance the budget, and I go, right. Please, tell me, every year, no job cuts? How do you do that?
Absolutely. Freedom Party's put out a balanced budget plan every year for the last 3 years. We've submitted it to the legislature prior to them issuing their own budget. And in it, we detail that the way you do that is by getting healthcare reconstructed. In other words, getting it off budget, make it a Crown corporation, OHIP a Crown corporation, and then reopen the system to competition.
Just in all levels, because we have an experience with Crown corporations in Ontario recently where that's where you fritter away and you get up to hijinks and you do all the scandals. So you think it'll be cleaner under the Crown Corp system than in-house? As
long as the competition is there, it will have to be, because in order to maintain their business, to maintain their cash flow, they're going to have to compete with other businesses that are going to be watching every nickel. This will also allow people to choose different kinds of healthcare options. They don't necessarily have to have itchy skin care covered by their insurance plan. They could, for example, have just critical care, heart attack, cancer, that kind of thing. And we think that this will allow a more competitive system and a more innovative system. And
you think this can be done provincially without any sort of federal allowances to it, because of course they mandate certain healthcare services? That's right, and in our annual budgets we make sure that we explain the legal situation, that in fact the Canada Health Act is consistent with our proposal, which is that we maintain the OHIP system so that at all times anybody who wants to continue paying into it, having that coverage, can do so on the exact same terms as everybody else, regardless of their health history. But at the same time, if they don't want to purchase OHIP, they can purchase from another insurer. Okay, we're also here just to talk about the party in general. Right. I appreciate you mentioned the legal explanations, because you are a lawyer. Now, a lot of people look at a party they don't know much about. They go fringe party, must be a bunch of nuts, a bunch of lunatics, but you're a lawyer. You've held the job for a long time,
18
I imagine,
years, yeah.
18 years. You got two other high-profile candidates, Al Gretzky in London West. I understand you did a pretty good showing in the 2013 by-election. That's correct. And you got Salim Mansur. Readers and viewers of Sun might remember him as a former columnist here, professor of political science at University of Western Ontario. Just tell me more about who you guys are.
Well, we're looking to restore trust in government, essentially, by having a balanced budget this year and every year. And obviously, the big issue in this election, as far as I'm concerned, restoring affordable energy by pulling the plug on the already existing, liberal green energy plans. None of the other parties are proposing this. They're backing away from it. They're saying, oh, I'm sorry, we're stuck with 20-year deals. We say, no way. The law is clear. The Court of Appeal in November 2013 made it clear that government is not bound, like with shackles, by deals it makes with private companies. Moreover, as we recently saw in one of the major financial newspapers, a law professor at Queen's said, no problem. The way to do it is that legislation has to be passed saying that we're not bound to continue these existing energy plans.
How do you get your message out there more? Because in the last 2011 election, you got just over 9,000 votes Ontario-wide. So the party doesn't get a lot of attention, doesn't get a lot of votes, but I know you're looking to bring in more candidates and so forth. So what's the plan there to spread the message?
Money's the root of all good. And so, money allows us to put commercials on TV like we've got on Sun, on radio in London. We also have to make sure that we prioritize. So, for example, right now we're trying to establish a toehold for the legislature in London, Ontario. That's why you're finding there, A-team, if you will, Salim Mansour, Al Gretzky. I'm running in London Fanshawe, and we're giving voters in London a solid alternative, because I can tell you right now, if anybody's listening to talk radio in London, Ontario, they're not happy with the PCs, the Liberals, or the NDP, and they are talking about Freedom Party in a quite unprompted way, which makes sense. We founded the party in London to begin with, so that's where the most people are going to know about it.
We just have 30 seconds left, but I want to ask, these days you just proposed to eliminate the LHINs, the local health networks, which Tim Hudak wants to do, and the sky is falling. How are you going to sell people on something as big as reforming the healthcare system? It seems like people are just not amenable to that much amount of change these days.
Well, that's the good thing about our plan. It doesn't require change. It's status quo for anybody who wants it. It's simply that we provide an alternative for those who don't. You can't take good things away from people or things they're relying upon. We never do. We simply suggest that other alternatives be made available so that people can then choose.
Well, Paul, you're definitely a credible group of folks with a lot of really interesting ideas, and candidates like yourself and Salim Mansour,
Thank you.
Really great guys. So I appreciate you coming by, and I'm sure we'll touch base with you again throughout the year.
Very good. Thank you.
Folks, still ahead. You love meat? Well, and next time you fire up that grill, oh, your wallet might take a hit. That is next. But up next, U.S. President Barack Obama hits back against critics who call his military approach passive. We'll break down his big foreign policy speech.